He said, pray as you see me pray. Utter these words that you hear me say. Based on the Sunnah, worship Him, just follow Him.
Assalamu alaikum. New class coming to you every Monday and Wednesdays, taught by Laila Nasheeba, the fiqh of prayer. Every Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Inshallah, we'll see you there. Streaming on all major platforms. Channel Sunnahfollowers.
I'm going to be speaking about something that a lot of the younger brothers have been asking me about for the past couple of months. We're going to go over, the things that invalidate, the prayer. So let's get right into it. Let me put the PowerPoint up on the screen. Yeah, I'm going to try to make the class quick for you guys tonight because I know a lot of you got work tomorrow and things to do, and I do too. I don't have work, but I don't want to sit up here all night on this computer. Tired of this computer, man. All right, let's take a look here. So tonight, inshallah, we're going to be speaking about the things that will invalidate your prayer. The things that will invalidate the prayer. So let's take a look at the first thing we have here. And this is a question that one of the new shahadas asked for my Q&A the other day. Does intentionally eating or drinking invalidate the prayer? I had a brother, no, it was a sister, one of the new shahadas. She said that she had gum in her mouth. She was chewing on gum and didn't realize it until after the prayer was over. She wanted to know if her prayer was invalid. Well, let's take a look and see what Islam says about eating and drinking. First of all, the people of knowledge all agree. This is what all the people of knowledge, that means all the scholars agree on this, that if a person is intentionally eating or drinking during the obligatory prayer, you have to repeat that prayer. The same is the case with the voluntary too, according to the majority of the scholars. Because whatever invalidates the obligatory prayer also invalidates the voluntary prayer. Now, let's answer the question about chewing gum. Chewing gum is not really eating something, okay? Eating something is if I'm going to stand there with a sandwich, say I got a hamburger in my hand, and I'm sitting there, Allahu Akbar, take a bite. Alhamdulillah, and chewing. We don't do that. That's going to break your prayer, because your concentration, your khushua is not on Allah. Or say I was holding some coffee in my hand. Allahu Akbar, I'm taking a drink of the coffee. Alhamdulillah. No. Does everybody understand? So that type of eating, that type of drinking is what's going to break your prayer. All right? But chewing gum, that's not going to break it, inshallah. Because that's not really eating anything. So I hope that answers the question. Because again, that's a very good question that you new shahadas come up with. Alhamdulillah. What about this? Let's continue on. How many of you have asked me about talking during the prayer or speaking during the prayer? Well, it depends. If you're speaking intentionally about things that's not related to the prayer, then yes. Let's take a look at this. Zayd ibn Arqam, he says, we used to talk while we were in Salat. a person would speak to the person next to him. And then Allah sent down the verse in the Quran saying, in the interpretation, the meaning, and stand before Allah in devotion and obedience. And then we were commanded to not talk during the prayer. So again, can you imagine that, guys? Can you imagine you're making salat, and your father or your husband is leading you in the prayer, and your daughters are talking. Hey, what you gonna do after we get through praying? Oh, well, let's go outside and play with the neighbors next door. Oh, girl, I got homework to do. Oh, no, we can't do that. That's haram. This has nothing to do. No, this is, how are you thinking about Allah? How is your concentration intact? You sitting there talking to your sister or talking to the person that's next to you. Okay. Also, we have this hadith. Ibn Masud said, we used to give the greeting to the Prophet Muhammad while he was praying, and he used to respond. When we came back from Abyssinia, we greeted him while he was praying, but he didn't respond. And so we asked him, "O Prophet of Allah, we used to give you the greeting and you would respond in prayer, but you didn't today." He said, prayer demands your complete attention. So we don't give salams either. Okay, that's something different. How can I be focusing on my relationship with Allah if you come in, Assalamu alaikum, Sister Laila, wa alaikum salam? You know, we don't do that. I mean, can you imagine you sitting there praying, you in the mosque or you at praying, and all of a sudden the kids come home, Assalamu alaikum, mama, wa alaikum salam. Make sure y'all take them shoes off. Can you imagine that? It doesn't even make sense, does it? So talking, just randomly talking like that during the prayer, it breaks your prayer, guys. I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? It even sounds crazy. But again, if of those people who did not know or you forgot, your prayer is accepted, because Allah doesn't hold us accountable for what we don't know. But since you knew Shahadas know that there's no talking, you don't respond to the greeting. You don't sit there and say, hey, what you going to do after we get through? Hey, Iman, when we get through, don't forget to take the garbage out. We don't do that, okay? Now, I had a person ask, what about this? Say somebody is, you're praying and somebody sneezes, and out of instinct, you say, Yarhamakallah. Or you say, Yarhamakallah. Does that break the prayer? Well, look at this hadith. Muawiyah ibn al-Hakam, he said, I was praying behind the Prophet and someone sneezed. And I said, Yarhamakallah. And then all the people began to stare at me, showing their dislike of what I did. So I said, why y'all looking at me? And they started to hit their legs with their hands, signaling to me that to be quiet. So I was angry, but I was quiet. And then when the prayer was over, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, talking to others is not seemly during the prayer, because the prayer is for glorifying Allah and reciting the Quran. But guess what? The Prophet did not make him repeat that prayer. So his prayer was accepted because, number one, he didn't know. He didn't know that we can't talk. Okay? So, even if a person is sneezing, I mean, if you say Yarhamakallah just out of habit, you don't have to perform the prayer, because we get in the habit of following the sunnah. But so if you just forgot and said it, or, just instinct, your prayer is still accepted. You don't have to re-pray it. But try to remember that the prayer is for Allah, not for anything else, and we have to keep our mind focused on Him. Okay? Remember, If long as the talking, remember, talking does not invalidate the prayer. And here's more dalil for that. Abu Hurairah tells us that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam led us in the Dhuhr or Asr prayer, and he gave the taslims after praying just 2 rakats. So one of the companions said, "Oh Prophet, did Allah shorten the prayer, or did you forget because you only did 2 rakats?" The Prophet said it was not shortened. The Prophet said, the Prophet then prayed the 2 rakats and made the taslim and takbir and performed the prostrations of forgetfulness and all that. So again, that's when he also told us what to do. If the imam makes a mistake, the women should clap their hands and the men should say, Subhanallah, Subhanallah. So that's the dalil, that if the talking is done to get the attention of the imam because the imam made a mistake or something, then that's acceptable and that does not break the prayer either. But to sit there just talking randomly, hey, how you doing? Girl, how the kids? I'm laughing, but I'm here to tell you, we have a lot of ignorant people out there. A lot of Muslims are uneducated about their religion. You'd be surprised, especially you brothers, you would be surprised to see what happens at the masjid on the sister side. Oh yeah, that's why I don't go to the mosque. The women would be sitting there fussing at their kids. You in the prayer line, you better sit your butt down or I'm going to snatch you and throw you down. I'm like, wait a minute. Those women, I'm telling you, women are crazy. That's why I don't go to the mosque to pray. I pray in my house because every time I go to I've seen some crazy stuff. Women be talking, fussing in the prayer line. Okay, so this stuff happens, and these sisters know I'm telling the truth. It's ridiculous. So again, this is what Allah says about the talking. Again, when you're making salat, your focus is supposed to be on Allah, not on your kids and all that other stuff. And what about moving around? Now, the scholars have different opinions as to what exactly constitutes as a few movements and a lot. Moving around does not break your prayer unless you move around too much. I want y'all to pay attention to what Imam An-Nawawi said about this, because he summarized it very well. He said if a person performs a lot of movements that are not part of the prayer, then he breaks his prayer. And at this point, there is no difference of opinion amongst the scholars or the companions. But if the movements are few in number and then they don't invalidate the prayer, and the scholars all agree on that too. And that's the correct position. But the problem is, what constitutes a lot of movements and a few? Okay? And the correct view is this. If a person nods, let's say, for example, you making salat, your kids come home, Assalamu alaikum, Umi, and they come in the room and see you and you nod your head, that's okay. That doesn't break your prayer. Like I gave the example of sneezing. Somebody says, you say Yahamakallah. Okay, or fixing your head dress. You're trying to pull your hijab forward while you're praying because it goes back. Or you want to pull your abaya down to cover your feet. That doesn't break the prayer. Taking off your shoes. That doesn't break the prayer. Okay, because these are considered, they're not considered a lot of movements. Picking up your baby and putting your baby down as you prostrate, that doesn't break the prayer. Okay? Preventing someone from walking in front of you, that doesn't break the prayer. Blowing your nose, that doesn't break the prayer. But the actions that's considered a lot of actions is, for example, just getting up, walking away. And I'm telling you, I've seen women do this in the mosque, Juma prayer. You brothers don't see what go on behind the curtains. You know, you sitting there making the prayer and you just get up, walk away, go to the back of the room, put something down, then you come back to the front. The last time I went to a mosque, I'm going to tell y'all, it was the worst experience of my life. That was 2 years ago when Dr. Dramali was here. It was a mosque here where I live at on the west side. Arabic mosque, Palestinian mosque, Palestinians. Juma prayer. We all standing in line trying to pray the Juma prayer. Some lady in front of me, she just said, man, I forgot. She just said it out loud. Palestinian, I forgot. And then she gets up, walks out the prayer line, put something down, I guess. I don't know what she did, but she came right back in and got in the line and pushed the people, excuse me, and got in the line. I'm like, what is this woman's problem? Something like that. That's too much movement. First of all, she broke the direction of the Qibla. You know, that's one of the conditions. You have to face the direction of the Qibla. You know, you're going to just get up and walk out the line because you forgot something. Then come back and get in the line. Hey, move over. I mean, come on. So that's an example of a whole lot of movement. But fixing my dress or something like that, moving a little bit is okay. We have a hadith here where a Bedouin came in the mosque. The prophet told a Bedouin who had not prayed his prayer well, go back and make it over again. And that's what that woman should have done when I was at the mosque, for that Juma prayer. I don't know what she got back in line for. She should have just went on and took herself home and made dua because she blew it. Okay. So again, and also if you break one of the pillars, for example, facing the Qibla, that's one of the pillars of the prayer. Okay, you have to repeat it. Not reciting the Fatiha, that's another pillar of the prayer. Then you have to repeat it. And then finally, what about this? And I know the Sunnahfollower kids know what I'm talking about. But believe it or not, I'm 63 years old and I still do it. What about laughing? Laughing or smiling during the prayer. Some of us do that. Let's take a look at this. Anybody who laughs out loud during the prayer breaks the prayer. I'm sorry, kids. And I'm talking about the laugh makes sound. Say, for example, we in the SALAT line and something appears funny to you and you hold it in. You don't laugh. Or if you laugh, you go, but nobody hears you but you, your prayer is okay. But the laugh like I just gave, oh my God, ha, 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 ha. You got to make your prayer over. If a person is overcome by laughter and you cannot control it, your prayer is invalid. Okay? Y'all understand that? I'm talking the hee-haw laughter. But if it's just a snicker, you trying to hold your snicker in, that doesn't break it. And in regards to smiling does not break your prayer. You can smile towards Allah all you want to.